that was the night before she died. She died at 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning. My husband got the call. I sat straight up in my bed and I just sobbed. Because I knew, especially with her coming to say goodbye. And people might be like, you're crazy. And it's like, you might have been drinking. No, I wasn't drinking. I was sober at the time. And it was over. And I went into the room, I brushed her hair. It's a really weird feeling when it's your own family, like very, very close family member, and you go up to say goodbye to somebody. It's different than a wake. It's sitting in a quiet room, because she was in the death room, and just pushed her hair up over her head, and I rubbed her arm. She was still warm. Her fingertips were cold. And, just before she died, I told her that my sister Kaylee was pregnant. And so I think that's one of the reasons, too, is that I told her what was going on and that it was okay for her to go. It was time for her to go. And she did. And I left the room maybe after 5 minutes of spending my own quality time with my grandmother. And I walked out, and my mom was just walking in, and she's like, what are you doing? Where are you going? I said, Grandma's not here. Like, she's gone. She's not in this room. Her body's here, but she's not here. And so I went outside, and I vaped outside, which, yes, I vape, whoop-de-doo. And I use it for its actual purposes, not for the purposes of making fucking clouds. But, and a little chipmunk went up to my sister's foot, up to my foot, my mom's foot, like a baby chipmunk. Climbed up the tree and just sat there and looked at us until we went back in. And if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. And it was her. I definitely believe in that type of stuff. And so I helped my mom with funeral arrangements. And I felt like at this point, my mom, she couldn't make the decisions herself. She was looking at me and saying, Steph, what should we do? Like, I'm not sure. She's an only child. There's children that we know of now, like, we've known for a long while, but they got taken away when she was younger because of her asshole fucking husband, boyfriend thing. Just decided to take her kids away. So that's pretty fucked up, because that's the way my life felt like too for a little while. So funeral was, I'm like, listen, you're gonna have to watch, like, I told my husband, listen, you're gonna have to watch the kids. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna help you with the kids, but I need you to just kind of watch them. And he was a pallbearer, and he's like, the kids started acting up in the middle of the funeral, and I'll take them outside. And he's like, it's fucking hot outside, and our parents live right around the corner, so it's like a 2-second walk to a shaded backyard. Get them some water, get them food, because we had that all done. I went down to Costco and got some supplies, and he just wouldn't. So I had to leave the funeral to go deal with my kids. And anybody could have just said, I'm going to help you with your kids. This is your grandma. You deserve to have that time. I didn't get to enjoy the fucking time I had with the last little bits of my grandmother. I did not get to enjoy. You don't enjoy saying goodbye, but just embrace the moment of saying goodbye to somebody. I couldn't even sit down. I couldn't sit down. I was constantly up and down like a yo-yo because they were so bad. And they were under the age of 6. Alex was 6. So then the alcohol started to kick in more. It settled in that my grandma was gone, and it kicked in like in full gear. I could drink a 26er to myself a night, and I became more and more secluded. I secluded myself. The biggest danger about this situation was that I wasn't scared of death anymore. If anything, I embraced it. I was like looking for ghosts. I was so in tune with the spiritual world, but yet I was so destructive to my own. And sorry, someone messaged me. Just so much. So I decided in November that I was going to quit drinking. And also I started taking antidepressants to help cope with everything, with my PTSD. I was diagnosed that, all that shit. So I decided to do that. Kaylee decided to go into premature labor and try and have Jax around that time. I was driving down to London, big long trip again. I started crying because I'm like, it's just like dealing with grandma all over again. Driving down to a big city I don't know at like 2 in the morning. We'll get there at 4 in the morning. And yeah, it was stressful. We went down to London because that's the best hospital, children's hospital in my area. It's not really my area, but it's a long distance, couple hours, at least 3 hours. And so we went down there in the middle of the night, and I was just sobbing before I went. And Kaylee got stabilized. My mom stayed down there. I had to drive back. I had to work and stuff. Then I drove back down with my stepdad, and he drove that time, thank God, because I did not want to drive during winter because it was snowing. There's snow on the ground. Don't mind me, my eyes are itchy. And so picked up Kaylee, came home, everything was fine and good and dandy. So as I took the antidepressants, I realized more and more and more how shit was completely fucked up. And before I sobered up, I got angry at my ex, and I said, you know, do you see me as your mother? Do you see me as a mother figure? And he actually, for the first time, because when we fought, he never talked to me. He'd just walk away. He didn't want to talk about anything. He just was very ignorant to everything. He didn't care about what I had to say. He just didn't want to talk about it. And he said, yeah, I actually do. And at that point, that's when I knew. After my grandma died, I tried driving my truck off a cliff, which I said that I had, when that's around the time I was ghost hunting. A couple days before I did, told my ex a couple days before I did that I didn't feel well. I needed to go to the hospital. I needed to talk to somebody. I was feeling suicidal. It just wasn't a good time. And he told me, no, like, you'll give it a couple days and you'll feel better. Well, like the next 2 days, I tried to kill myself by running my truck into a pole over the cliff. I didn't care anymore. I was like, I'm fucking done. I'm done with everything. So I told him that I knew what the problem was. I didn't love him anymore. I went to the hospital. He forced me to the hospital. I was crying. I was like, you're going to use this against me. You're going to use this against me. And he did. He told me he wasn't going to, but he did.